What's going on, everyone? I'm Vinny Costa, editor of Street Muscle Magazine and your host of the RodCAST, brought to you by Lucas Oil. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Greg Acosta, editor of Engine Labs and the all-around tech guru. What's going on, Greg?
Hey, Vinny, what's happening?
Not much, man. Just real quick, before we get started, I wanted to tell our audience, if you've ever been ghosted on Facebook Marketplace, hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. I
feel like there's a story behind that one, like a fresh story.
No, I just, I'm on Facebook Marketplace all the time, and a lot of times, whether you're the buyer or the seller, it doesn't matter. Like you'll have someone hit you up, hey, is this still available? And then you're like, yeah, it's still available, and then nothing. Or conversely, you'll say, hey, is this still available? And then never get a response. So, yeah. or they'll say, yeah, it's still available, and then nothing. So, yeah. Again, if you guys have ever had that experience, drop a comment in the comment section below. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, all that. Greg, we have a fantastic episode today.
We do another installment of the Supercar Shootout.
Yeah, dude. I'm stoked. So last week was really good. We did the R8. Previous episode we did the C8. So we have 2 under our belt. We're going for number 3, and this one's a bit of a departure in the fact that it's quite a bit more expensive than the other 2 cars we've built, sort of.
Well, to be fair, it's also a little bit higher level, I would say. Yeah. I would. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, that McLaren 720 S is it's upper echelon as far as supercars are concerned. It's like mid-tier for McLaren, which of course we'll get into. I don't want to give too much away. But I'm really excited because I don't really know what to make of this one. I'm not too familiar with the company's heritage, and I'm also not too familiar with their product line. I don't know what to expect. Do you know anything about the brand?
A little bit. I'm not going to lie. A lot of what I know about McLaren is either their Formula One stuff or what I've learned in video games.
Yeah.
Because that's like all the exposure I've ever had to McLarens. It's not like we see McLarens driving around northern Arizona that often.
Yeah, it's not a car that like I clamor toward. If I see one at a car show or if I see one out in public, on the rare occasion that does happen, I don't run over like, oh my God, that's a McLaren, because I don't really know too much about them, and I don't know, I've never been drawn to them that much. So
yeah. Plus, I mean, they're so I hate to say it, but they're so expensive. They're not in real world for me. I mean, they might as well be made out of like gold and carbon fiber, right? Like, yeah, because that's something that you need to have an oil well to fund.
Yeah, well, or a lithium mine. Yeah, so I guess without further ado, we should just jump right into it because I have a feeling this one's going to be a longer episode. So let's just jump into it. First, a word from our sponsors.
Performance parts for your American Classic are available from POL at performanceonline.com. POL is the perfect upgrade for your classic car or truck. Whether you're hitting the strip or going on a road trip, POL's performance braking, steering, suspension, fuel injection, exhaust, radiators, rear ends, and more are top notch and can be seen in our showroom floor. Cruise on down to our show-stopping showroom and take a look at our brand new Blackout Series parts, or order POL parts from performanceonline.com and have them shipped straight to your garage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a real treat for you today. Rob Finkelman, Greg Acosta, the regulars, we're back with another build. What's going on, guys?
Yo.
Channeling his New Yorker there.
Yeah,
yo.
Exactly.
Oh,
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing
glad
good.
to have you guys both back. We get to have some more fun on the show again today, this time building a McLaren. So last week, we talked a little bit about what we might build this week, and there were a few options to choose from. We happened to land on the McLaren for various reasons. And it's going to be a little bit different today. Rob, I'll let you kind of explain why.
Yeah, well, it is going to be a little different because unfortunately, 2 of the 3 companies that we have left to configure in this series do not issue pricing information unless you're actually in a dealer ready to plunk down an obscene amount of money. We are able naturally to find a base price on the McLaren model that we're going to build today, but we will not be able to price with options because, frankly, we don't have the money to go into a dealer and buy a McLaren. And they do run a credit check on you, by the way. I know that for a fact. You can't even sit down with a salesperson until after a credit check's been performed.
I think I would frame that credit check. Be like, yeah, look, McLaren checked my credit. Look at that.
Yeah. Well,
I wonder if they finance like floor mats, Jimmy.
or a license plate.
Can I get a 36-month price for these floor mats, please?
That'll be $375 per
Yeah,
month.
we're getting into rarefied air here, boys. It's true. And the other two marks that we'll be covering in this series, Acura with the NSX and Ferrari with the F8 Tributo. Ferrari's the other brand that does not disclose pricing on options or anything. And we were gonna originally, I think, do the NSX today to save the hyper expensive McLaren and Ferrari for last. But we discovered, to our astonishment, that the NSX is actually coming to an end. And they are having one last model year where they are delivering us a NSX S, I believe they called it, which is a 1 year only Ultimate Edition. But the configurator is down until later this week. And
we hope later this week.
We hope.
It might not even be a configurable car at this point.
That's correct.
Full disclosure, if that does happen, we do have a contingency plan. But
I mean, we can still compare it however they're offering it. We just take it as it comes, but that's not as fun.
Essentially, August 12th, which is in 2 days, they are revealing the NSX S. And if there is a configurator, we will be building it. But like Vinny said, we have a fallback plan in case it's a, like non-configurable car that just comes as is, which is often the case with Ultimate Editions and so forth. But today, we're going to build Britain's mid-engine supercar.
Yeah, man. It'll be interesting to see how they do things comparatively because
I mean, we know the jokes. We know the jokes about British cars. At least I've had to hear them.
I don't think they apply. I don't think they apply to McLarens, though. My dad used to be a Jaguar fan back in the 90s and had a series of supercharged sedans, the XJR, which was a supercharged V8, which was a hell of a car that could give like a BMW M5 a run for its money or an AMG like E-Class. But car after car, I think he'd leased like 3 of them or something like that. And all 3 of them had massive electrical problems, transmission problems, like you name it. The cars were in the shop more than they were on the road. And that's always been, the talk of British cars is they look beautiful, but they run, or don't run like crap. And McLaren, however, is a little different. McLaren is one of the highest technology companies in the world, and I'm sure shortly we'll get into the history of the company and you'll learn why.
Yeah, I would love for you to break that down for us, Rob, because I've always been interested in British cars just because they're great looking. I mean, Steve McQueen had a gorgeous Jaguar, so I've always liked them.
Yeah, you get an XKSS, which I've actually seen in person. It's at the vault at the Peterson Museum, and it's about knee high.
Yeah,
I'm about 6 feet tall. So
hunter green with more curves than Scarlett Johansson. This thing's amazing.
Yeah, it is sex on wheels.
Yeah. So I'm totally into it, and I've always thought of McLaren as like the brand that sets itself apart from other British brands because it's a little bit flashy when you compare it to Jaguar or you compare it to some of the other brands. But what can you tell us about the origin of the company and things like that?
Well, you're basically right. I mean, put McLaren to the side, and in terms of British cars, you would say like the highest end there is Aston Martin. But even Aston Martins tend to have a conservative British feel to them. British cars are not known typically for wild angles and scoops and stuff. That's really the domain of Italian hypercars, in particular. Lamborghini, of course, is known for all of that. But McLaren is a little different, and the difference comes from the origins of the company. There was a racing driver, a Formula One, and later a Can-Am driver by the name of Bruce McLaren. And back in the 60s and early 70s, when he was at the height of his powers and was considered one of the greats, although he never won a Formula One world championship, he was considered up there with the greats of the period, like Jackie Stewart, Jimmy Clark, Graham Hill, people of that echelon, Dan Gurney. And back in those days, Formula One wasn't this exorbitantly expensive sport where, like, if you have less than $500 million budget a year, you can't even dream of winning races, let alone championships. In those days, most of the cars actually used a Ford V8, a Cosworth, with the exception of Ferrari, which used to build its own engines. All of the British teams, like Lotus, for example, there was a team called BRM. There were a whole host of British teams, and they all used a Cosworth Ford V8. It was almost like a universal engine. And so you could really compete as a team by building your own chassis, buying these Ford V8s from Cosworth, and putting together your own racing team. It wasn't even a huge investment in those days, unlike, as I said today, where you better be prepared to be like a manufacturer, a car company like Mercedes, Ferrari, to compete at a high level in F1. And that's what Bruce McLaren did. One day he decided he really wanted to win in his own cars. And he created a McLaren racing team in the late 60s and competed in Formula One. He competed in Can-Am, which was Canadian American endurance racing, kind of like Le Mans cars, closed wheel prototype type vehicles. And sadly, he died, I believe it was in 1973. He was testing one of his own cars in England at a racetrack, and I believe a tire blew out or lost pressure, and he spun off and was killed. And he was quite young, actually. And after that, the team was taken over rather unsuccessfully for the remainder of the 70s. Until the very late 70s, an American by the name of Teddy Mayer took control of the team and really started to put the kind of effort in to winning that Bruce McLaren himself always put into the team. And in addition to getting high visibility sponsors like Marlboro cigarettes, they invested a lot of money in the team. They hired James Hunt, who was a famous driver. And in 1976, McLaren won the Formula One World Championship, something that Bruce McLaren was never able to do during his lifetime and running of the team. And McLaren became a juggernaut in the 80s. Teddy Mayer got out of Formula One, and the team was taken over by a somewhat infamous man by the name of Ron Dennis, who in Formula One circles was both brilliant and reviled. He was a very cold, shrewd, tactical guy, didn't have a lot of friends, wasn't there to make friends type of guy, had one goal in mind, and that was winning. And in the mid 80s, under his control, along with first Porsche engines and then Honda engines, McLaren became a juggernaut, unbeatable. In fact, they won in the 1980s, I think they won six of the world championships in the 1980s. And then in the early 1990s, won 4 championships. So for a span of almost 10 years, they were unbeatable.
Wow.
And they hired some of the greatest drivers in Formula One history. K.K. Rosberg, who is Nico Rosberg's father, who won for them. Alain Prost, who's one of the most legendary French Formula One driver. And biggest of all was their main man in the late 80s, early 90s, Ayrton Senna, who I'm sure a lot of you out there are familiar with and have seen the documentary about his life. Arguably the greatest driver of any, in any series who ever lived. A man who literally lived, breathed, ate, drank racing. His whole life was just racing. And so McLaren climbed these incredible heights, and under Ron Dennis's stewardship, they decided to go into streetcar manufacture. And in the early 90s, they took their Formula One designer, a guy named Gordon Murray, who had been designing most of their championship winning Formula One cars, and set him on a course to build the world's ultimate streetcar, which he did, which was the McLaren F1 that came out, I believe, in 1991 or 92, which until
Hot Wheels of that car, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think everybody did.
The car was so advanced and so many light years above anything literally Ferrari had ever built or Lamborghini had ever built, that it held the top speed record for a production vehicle until just about like 10 years ago. Like it held the record for like 20 plus years. And the way it did that was it used a lot of Formula One technology. The entire car was built out of carbon fiber, which is common now to race cars. But back in the early 90s, I mean, it was unheard of to use carbon fiber on a road car. It had a it had a manual transmission, but it had the driver was situated in the center of the car. There weren't driver and passenger seats. It was just a driver in the center and 2 little baby chairs to carry your grocery because you couldn't fit humans in them in the back. And it had a BMW manufactured V12 engine that revved to some insane level, like 9,000 or 10,000 RPMs. Yeah. And the car was capable, I think it set a world speed record of 264 miles an hour back in 1991. And it was the ultimate street car, sold for a mint. Even back then, it was $1 million car back then. Today, McLaren F1s with low mileage are selling for, in the 10 to $20 million.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's beyond my comprehension. Like,
but it was and still remains one of the ultimate examples of road going automotive technology. Nothing about it is really out of date. I mean, if they were going to build it today, it'd have a semi-automatic paddle shifted gearbox, and it would probably be, have, sorts of gizmos that car didn't have.
Rob,
I'm sorry.
So this was in the early 90s. You said 91. This car was built. I'm not an F1 expert by any means, but it's my understanding that McLaren has had some trouble winning in Formula One. Is there any correlation between the time that they were building street cars and the time that they started losing?
Yes, and the big thing was that originally, as I said, in the 80s, under Ron Dennis's stewardship at McLaren, they were using Porsche engines, which at that time were the most powerful engine. They were building the most powerful engine in Formula One. Then they went to Honda. And when they went to Honda, they were truly untouchable. Honda produced a twin turbocharged V6, 1.5 liter V6 for them beginning in 1988. And in qualifying trim, that engine was putting out about 1,400 horsepower. And it was just untouchable. And they won the world championship in 88, 89, 90, 91, and 92 with with first a twin turbo V6, then a Honda V10, and ultimately a Honda V12, because Formula One went from a turbo format to a normally aspirated format in 1990. But Honda, having gotten a lot out of Formula One in terms of technologies that they could then apply to their road cars, decided that the sport was becoming too expensive and they pulled out. And when they pulled out, it was rather abrupt, and McLaren didn't really have a fallback plan. And they ended up going with a succession of different engine manufacturers, namely Ford and Peugeot, for a few years, until they brokered a deal with Mercedes-Benz for Mercedes to produce engines for them. And it wasn't until they had a company with the size and might of Mercedes behind them that they were able to win again in Formula One. So the last championship Senna won for them was 1992 with Honda. And then it wasn't until 1998, rather, that they won the championship again, starting with Mercedes, with a driver named Mika Hakkinen. And then
question for you real quick,
Sure.
Rob, not to go down too much of a rabbit hole here, but when you talk about manufacturers selling to other manufacturer-based race teams, like Mercedes selling their engines to McLaren, is there any ability for them to like save the really good stuff for themselves and then sell the other stuff to other teams?
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, yes, there were instances like that, and companies like Mercedes, Porsche, Honda have at various times either decided to run an entire program in Formula One. Like in the 2000s, there was a Honda F1 team where they built not only an engine, but the chassis and did all the aerodynamics and stuff like that as well. Mercedes, likewise, as I just explained, they supplied engines to McLaren in the late 90s and early 2000s. And then in 2010, I believe, decided they wanted a full team. And they too are now building engine, chassis, aerodynamics, everything. And yeah, back in the 90s, it was often the case that a company like Ferrari, for example, which has always had their own team in Formula One, would also supply engines to a lesser team. For profit, they would sell the engines to another team. And it was always questioned if those Ferrari engines were a little bit down on power compared to
like maybe like last year's technology, and now they have new, better stuff.
But now there are rules in F1 where the engines produced like by Mercedes that are used by customer teams, they have to be the same exact spec. The only difference I think allowed now is in terms of engine management software, where Mercedes might save the juicy software for the factory team and offer like a lesser software version to the customer teams.
Gotcha.
But
pretty important.
Yeah. So back to our discussion of McLaren, try and wrap this up. The McLaren F1 road car was the stunner. But it was a one-off. McLaren didn't build another street car after that until I believe it wasn't until the late 2000s. Greg, maybe you can look that up while I'm telling the story.
Was that the P1?
Well, before the P1, the look up McLaren I think it's MC12 was the
Okay.
second.
Wow.
What year was that?
That was, why does nothing list a year? 98? No. 2011.
2011. Okay, so from 1991 really to 2011, McLaren didn't build streetcars anymore.
20-year span.
What's that?
It's 20-year span. That's a long time.
Yeah, it was a 20-year span, but then there was a change in the guard. Ron Dennis stepped away from running McLaren. Interestingly, a lot of people might not know, in addition to participating in F1, McLaren was involved in all sorts of high-tech businesses, including, believe it or not, they built high-end stereo systems for a while, like $20,000 CD players and $30,000 amplifiers for audiophile quality music reproduction, and they were involved in all sorts of things. And the company changed from being called McLaren International to McLaren Technologies because they were doing so many different things. But in 2011, they decided to get back into road cars, and they built the MP12, not MC, it was MP12. Which was their first road car since the famous F1. And
that car has aged well, by the way. That is still a sharp car.
It has aged well, and the successive cars McLaren has made since then, road cars, have built upon it, up to, of course, what Vinny just mentioned, the P1, which is one of the highest technology cars ever built, a hybrid system that's fantastically complicated, Formula One type performance out of a road car with active aerodynamics, flaps all over that are moving, and retracting and so forth. And they built the McLaren Senna in honor of Ayrton Senna, who won those 3 Formula One World Championships for Team McLaren. So right now, McLaren really is one of the top super and hypercar manufacturers in the world. It's a massive company now. And they still run to this day in Formula One. They're pretty successful and getting even more successful, and really building England's finest cars with, as I pointed out earlier, a noted lack of British foibles and electrical problems and stuff. And that's really because McLaren started out as the height of automotive technology in Formula One. That's their origins. And it's interesting, in Formula One in particular, most Formula One teams are run by companies that are primarily road car manufacturers who also go racing, whereas McLaren and Ferrari really are actually racing teams that build road cars to finance their racing.
It's something to do on the weekends.
Very different mindset. They actually sell cars on the weekend during the week to support their racing on the weekend. And McLaren's always stayed true to that, and Ferrari as well.
Very cool. Yeah, thank you so much for breaking that down for us, Rob. That's informative, dude.
Thanks.
Like I said, I had no idea about the company other than the modern cars that they make, and that's on the periphery of what I do. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and I should mention that now they offer 3 levels of cars. There's there's an entry-level series, mid-level series, and a hypercar series. And I think today, we looked through before we started taping today at all their offerings, and we all came to the agreement that the car most suited to compare to the Corvette or a Ferrari F8 or an NSX would be the McLaren 720S, which is in their, is that the GT series? Is
No,
that
that's the supercar, which is the middle
Supercar series?
Yeah, GT Supercar Ultra.
There you go. So that's what we're going to do today, boys. We're going to build up the 720.
I mean, look at that. That is,
it's a pretty breathtaking car.
It's cool looking. It definitely looked like something that who's the designer of like Alien?
Yeah, H.R. Giger.
H.R. Giger or Geiger, however you want to say it.
Yeah. I think I always called it Geiger, and then someone corrected me one day and said he pronounced it Giger. So
well, he's free to pronounce his own name wrong. So
well, you do for him.
So.
All right, so we going S, luxury, or performance?
What's the difference?
Let's check. Well, luxury we get.
Oh, you know what? These are pre-trim.
Oh,
packages.
okay.
I don't think we want to do any of those. We want to build it ourselves. So
okay.
I would just start there with paint.
Ooh,
now here's the first problem that we're gonna run.
Good Lord!
Well, I'm just gonna say right off the bat, there's one that jumps out at me, and that's this.
Now let me point something out so we can forget it. The first orange there on the upper left is what's called McLaren orange, which is their traditional color in Formula One right now. So if you were a big McLaren F1 fan, you would probably have it built in McLaren orange.
Let's take a look at it, Greg.
All right, there was a color that popped up on a couple image searches. It's almost that metallic burnt orange. I think it might be this guy. I have wanted to build a car in that color for so long.
Click it.
I don't know. I have that thing. It's called, Texas orange, burnt orange.
Yeah, that's the color of your engine project, Greg.
Why do you think I picked it? Because I love that color. Like,
you know what this thing needs? It needs an LS. That's what it needs.
I feel like hopefully your address is not on the internet, because you're about to get some nasty mail. Like,
listen, I don't care. I honestly don't really care what color we pick. I think any of them will probably look good. But honestly, the British racing green, the dark forest green there in the center, I think. It's a British car. Come on.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. And I've seen them on the streets like silver, just a very pale silver, of which they offer 2 or 3, which is.
Ooh, I like that green a lot more than I thought I was going to.
The green, there's a little bit too much blue in that for me. That's a little more teal than.
That's why I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, I don't know why this blue it looks better, I think, on the speed shape than it did on the car. Like, that's a little dark.
What is that Belize blue? That kind of turquoise one up there.
Ooh.
Yeah, they got some crazy colors.
That's pretty sharp. That's almost is that not almost a little bit Petronas AMG?
I don't know, man, but I could see myself cruising Miami in a pink seersucker suit. No? Okay. No, maybe not.
Speaking of colors, and this is completely
there was silence on my end while I digested that comment briefly. But
Rob,
okay, fine. What you prefer, a silk shirt with some gold chain?
I find myself agreeing with Vinny that green was surprisingly pretty.
I wish it was a little bit lighter.
I've seen a lot of these on the street in silver, and although silver is more of a German.
Yeah, I always see McLarens in silver, and on the rare occasion that I have seen one.
They look well. That's actually like a ceramic gray.
Yeah, I like that color normally, but I don't think it fits that car at all. Yeah. It makes the car look plain. It really looks like primer.
What about red? What about that red up in the corner?
Which one? This one or this one?
Vermilion?
All right.
Vermilion, excuse me.
I feel like it's got this has to have metallic in it. It can't be.
That's sexy, man.
I think these are all metallics, actually.
Oh man, that vermilion is nice.
Go back to the silver just under the vermilion red.
Oh, this one. That's glacier white.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, it says white. That's not white. That's silver.
It looks a little silver, yeah.
What was the silver you clicked on before?
There was ceramic gray, and then I think was it ice silver?
Let's see ice silver.
Whoa, that's even lighter than the white.
It is.
Yeah.
What is ooh, no, I'm sorry, it was Supernova that I had before. That one.
That one.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah. As far as my silver fan goes, there it is right there. That's the silver.
I think I'm good with this, Vinny.
Yeah, that's cool. I like the green one, but this one's good too.
Yeah.
Just because I want to see it, and I know that's like
if we build,
I'll
tell you what, Vinny, if we build an Aston Martin in the future, it's got to be British Racing Green. I'm with you.
Sounds good to me, man.
Yeah.
Or if we did a Jaguar.
Yeah, or a Jaguar, yeah.
So what would it look like in a little bit of yellow? I'm just curious. Like, I don't think it's going to win.
None of these colors look bad, dude. They all look good on this car.
Yeah, there's nothing that's bad.
It's such a gorgeous car with those fins on the side,
on the doors.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter what color it is.
In silver, it reminds me of like whatever Lockheed Martin has cooking next.
Yeah, like a Skunk Works.
Yeah,
plane or something. I dig this. I say silver.
Yeah, I think I'm good with that.
That's good with me.
Just imagine this with some Plastidip on it.
Oh god!
Would that not be the ultimate troll move right there?
Yeah, Rob, I think it needs racing stripes. What do you think?
Where do we get stripes?
Please don't. What it really needs is a huge wing on the back.
Oh god! Right? Oh,
well, doesn't it have one that pops up?
I think it does have an active.
Oh man, let me check out that green one more time, Greg, in this angle.
All right.
Oh man! Oh, that's money.
Okay, that looks really a little better. That angle,
But you know what, Vinny? The one thing is, true British Racing Green is a gloss color. It's not a metallic.
I know.
I bet dollars to donuts. We're looking at a metallic here. It's hard to
without a doubt. That's a metallic car.
That's fantastic. What's that green? What's that color called?
Serpentine.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Yeah, like serpent.
What's
serpent.
The color to the left of it, Greg?
Saros. I think it's a gray.
Is it gray?
That's a
green.
That's a real green. Yeah.
No, that's great. Are you?
No,
like
green. Maybe you're right. Yeah. No, it's maybe on my screen. It's just
Yeah, I think we're gonna get into that blue or gold dress or whatever.
Yeah. No, I'm good with the silver. I just wanted to see it at the other angle. That's cool, man.
Now, what would really win me over is if they had a pure carbon fiber, like a gloss carbon fiber.
Oh, you can put a lot of carbon fiber on this car, but not a whole body. The McLaren Senna was offered in it was carbon fiber with a clear coat over it. But
I know you guys are big on like black interior, especially you, Rob. But that green color, tell me that wouldn't look good with like a nice peanut butter kind of.
Yeah. I am not a tan interior guy. It could
me
be
either, but with the right color.
Vinny, I'm with you, but we have to wait to an Aston Martin or like a high-end Jaguar.
Fair enough.
We'll do British Racing Green with tan, and I'll be with you 100%.
I love this silver. It's gorgeous.
I actually really dig these wheels.
I'm going to tell you right now, nothing jumps out at me, so I'm pretty much just going to go with whatever you two want.
I like the third one, the third option.
That?
Yeah.
You can have it in 3 tones.
Stealth and satin diamond cut. I'm guessing that.
Oh yeah.
Ooh
yeah, buddy.
Ooh.
Some turban wheels. I like it.
I'm guessing this has. Oh yeah. So it's the finish is then machined.
Oh, that's
cool. Can we see the first design again, but in the different finishes?
There's a darker finish.
Is that black? Ooh, that looks really good too. Dang.
I don't think it's black. I think it's like a dark gray.
Yeah, it's like a tungsten color.
Yeah.
I like that first one in the darker color. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty
my pick
with
this.
That.
I just want to see what this looks like. I feel like it's a little Ferrari-ish.
You would pick those, Greg.
No, I don't like them. Don't get me wrong. Okay. I don't like them.
Change the view to like a side profile.
Yeah, let's see what it looks like. Whoa, that's cool.
They're very Ferrari-ish, but they're not.
No, I don't like those wheels. I like the first one's best, and then the third one's.
I like the first one's best. I'm having a time. I don't like the curve to this.
Yeah.
I kind of like them more than I thought I would.
Those look like Hellcat wheels.
They look like brass monkey Hellcat wheels, kind of. I like the first design but I'm undecided whether I like the silver finish or
To me, it's too much silver. I like the darker.
I like the darker too, because it's not black, so it's just enough contrast. And I don't think it shows in this.
Why isn't? Yeah,
I don't know.
It darkened up the
let's
the
go
rotors.
with this. I'm cool with this.
Oof,
Okay,
man,
so
that's cool.
now we go brakes and calipers. I don't know why this view doesn't show the darker.
Right.
It's
So
okay.
maybe-
Got to be red calipers, silver car, right?
Let's see.
Got to do it.
Ooh,
Yeah. Oh yeah, buddy.
but burnt orange.
No,
I mean, that's cool too, but
No,
red. Man.
yeah.
Brembos have to be.
No,
Is that what it comes with?
They're
Brembo?
Brembos, but it has McLaren logo on them, I believe. Which, by the way, Ferrari does that now. You get Brembo brakes, but it has the Ferrari script on it instead.
Oh man, that green color with those bronze calipers might look kind of cool.
with which one? That one?
Yeah.
It probably would. It would probably.
Those are carbon ceramic. Does that
Well, they're-
add? Oh,
they're
they're
all-
all carbon.
Yeah,
they're
they're
all
all
carbon
carbon ceramic, but that bottom color is like a bronze.
I'm very much in favor of the red. And like I had that conversation at Bear when we were down there a couple weeks ago, and they were telling me, oh, we can refinish your calipers whatever color you want. And I was like, I don't want to give up my red. I like my red Bears. I picked red because I liked red, and I want to
Yeah,
keep
red's the color, dude.
Yeah, for me on a silver car, especially red is just it.
Yeah. All right. So now tires.
Riz
We got
P0.
the P0 courses.
the courses, bro.
Of
Yeah,
course.
I bet you the courses fall apart on the street.
Yeah.
though.
Of course. Oh.
Yeah.
I,
But
I cracked myself up.
if we're maxing, the car out for performance,
Well, here's the problem.
yeah,
And this is the problem I actually ran into with the Mustang of all things. They get dangerous below 54 degrees Fahrenheit. And
Yeah, but
I get a lot of drive.
all three of us live in areas where it never gets below.
Well,
no,
Greg lives up in the mountains.
Oh,
I
you're
get
in
snow.
the mountains.
Yeah, that's why I had to put all seasons on my car.
I got you. Well, you're
about-
really not going to drive your McLaren in the snow, are you?
Says who? Shoot.
That's why we love you, Greg.
Rob, what's that thing in like showbiz called where they pull the stick out and they pull them off
Yeah,
stage?
the hook. Yeah, to drag you off stage.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, Greg.
So obviously courses.
Like
okay.
like the vaudeville hook.
Yeah, exactly. Vaudeville hook, that's what it's called.
All right. So
All right, now
Oh my
you're gonna go
goodness.
crazy,
Well,
Greg.
Holy hellfire.
Yeah,
exterior,
put
just the
carbon-
name.
Well, you got to figure out what these packs do because everyone is different.
Hood
So-
air intakes, fender air intakes, and the door mirror casings. So
Right.
this, and this.
Since we're not getting prices on, it makes it easier.
it makes it easier.
Because I'm sure that's $10,000 worth of carbon fiber.
Yeah, just slap it all on there.
What's the pack two? That's probably
Pack
the
two
front
was,
spoiler.
yep.
Splitter and rear.
And the funny thing is, I keep trying to watch it when I click the button, and you can't see it go on, but it's there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's really weird. Like, so like, what's this? All intakes, roof. Okay, so watch the thing. I'm gonna click it, and you don't notice it go on, but then all of a sudden it's there. There it is.
There you go. It changed, yeah.
I saw it change.
Okay. All right, so I'm good with all that carbon on my silver. I think this is my favorite so far.
What is MSO carbon fiber pack? There's another carbon fiber pack? Whoa.
I don't know. Let's see.
Wow.
I haven't clicked it yet.
This has got to be 50 grand worth of carbon we put in.
Oh, what's
Yep.
the it changes the spoiler?
It's the engine cover, I think.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we got plenty of carbon on there. I'm happy. Silver and carbon. I'm very happy.
Oh, you can change the exhaust tip too. To
Wait,
burn
where'd you see that?
titanium.
everything on these cars.
All right, what's in the performance pack? 10 spoke, super lightweight forged alloy wheels, sports exhaust, track telemetry. Is that the same stuff that we've been looking at, just with a fancier name? Like, because it's British? Like, it's basically a track pack?
Well, I'm not sure, but we have to see what the wheels look like, don't we? We might
Well,
not like.
let's see what happens when I click it.
Yeah.
It's gonna put those 10 spokes on there. The third
Oh
option.
no, they are new 10 spokes.
I
No, those are
don't
the same
think
ones.
that-
Are those the number 3s?
Yeah, those were the third ones that we looked at.
Let's see what it looks like if I do this.
I like them just fine. I like the other ones better, but I mean, if it gets us the upgraded like suspension stuff,
I'm not gonna not take the performance pack just because of the wheels.
Mm.
I mean, they do that a little. They look like they might be a little bit offset, like doing that rotational or directional.
Mhm.
which
And
I like. I know you guys don't.
I know I do not. That's the only little thing. But again,
You know, this thing does need a spoiler, just like a little, just a little.
It pops up at speed. You
Oh,
can
okay.
see
All
you can see the outline, you know, the
Oh, I see it. Yeah,
app. Yeah.
right above the taillights.
Yep.
So wait, does this mean the stealth pack gives you the active rear spoiler and you don't have it otherwise?
It must.
So
Yeah.
let's see what happens when I click it.
I think it needs a big, giant carbon fiber wing like the ZL1.
Just go to Pet Boys and
Just go to eBay.
Yeah.
What is Stealth Pack doing?
I'm sitting here pointing at
It
my screen
blacked
like you
out.
can see.
It blacked out the exhaust tips for
And
one.
it gave the active arrow.
I actually don't
I
like the
think
black.
it had
out
active
tip.
arrow before that.
Yeah, I
think
don't like the
Stealth
black
is
exhaust
just
tip.
a black package. Yeah. It's just blacking out the active spoilers. But
Oh, okay.
I don't
Not for
dig
me.
Stealth Pack.
No,
either.
I'm not. What's the black pack though? Wait, no. Why would you pick that?
Instead of carbon, it's black
No,
finish.
no,
I
you
want
can go right to
carbon.
hell.
What about the
Yeah.
diffuser though? Yeah. Ooh, more
Carbon.
carbon fiber.
Boom.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, front splitter. Well, we know what's
Carbon.
oh, it's already okay. It's already there.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Intakes are already carbon.
Okay, this is in case you wanted to
Ooh,
go all
the
the carbon.
hood.
What? What?
Whoa.
What?
Let's see it. Let's see it, Greg.
Oh, yes.
Not for me.
Not
That's
for
just
me either.
it. Yeah, I like
oh,
that.
look at this.
I'll
You
take
can
the-
do.
Oh,
You can
there
do
you go. Body
painted-
color.
Yeah.
See, that's the best of both worlds. It looks
no.
good.
This is the
but
best.
it's
of both
lighter.
worlds right
No, that's
No.
pricey. That's go buy an
there.
NSX.
No,
Serious.
Excuse me? No.
Come on, let's do body colored carbon.
Yes,
But
please.
the paint adds weight, guys.
You just
All
turned it into
compromise.
you just turned it into a $500,000 turd.
Oh. Oh.
No, dude.
Oh.
I'm down with the carbon fiber. I didn't like the off color hood though.
Okay,
What's
so
that?
now the
Oh.
roof panel.
I
That's
like
probably
that.
the most important thing to have in carbon because it actually helps lower the center of gravity
Yeah.
significantly, I'm sure.
Probably adds quite a bit of rigidity too.
Yep.
What is this?
The
Oh,
front
okay.
pad.
Oh,
Oh,
so
lightweight.
you can only get this badge if you have the carbon fiber hood that is
Yeah.
not painted.
I thought it meant that the badge itself was lightweight. Like, wow, they're shaving every ounce.
Did we ever
ounce.
figure out what MSO is? Is that like McLaren Sport
Yeah.
option or something?
It's something like that. Or
Okay.
yeah.
Exhaust type. Do they have straight pipe? Because I know that's what all the kids are
You don't
doing
need
these
it on
days.
these cars, man. These cars, no, you need something to dump gas right into the hot exhaust for that.
Well, the little preview thing that they had rolling did show it spitting flames.
Mhm.
So
Because it's a very short exhaust because it's a mid-engine car, so it's coming right out of the turbochargers right there.
So what is the power plant in this thing?
It
Uh,
is.
I have
it-
the spec sheet open.
Wait, no, don't. I thought we were I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
I'm jumping the gun, guys.
Okay, sorry. All right. I was like, I got it. Let's look. It's like, you want to know? I got it.
Oh, active rear spoiler. I think you can delete it and have a fixed wing.
Or
Oh,
you
no.
can make it carbon fiber.
Carbon.
Hell
That's
yeah.
kind of cool. Can you
So-
can you show us the side profile with that? I don't hate it, but I also kind of like the silver better.
Yeah, I think I'm partial to the silver.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I like it, obviously, but if you look for this to work, it would have to have the hood. This doesn't work by itself.
Yeah. It's just too much for me.
Yeah, no, it's not my cup of tea.
The roof and carbon is enough.
See, for me, this would be carbon and the hood would be carbon because I love silver and carbon.
I'm disappointed that they don't offer carbon wheels though.
Yeah, that's interesting that like a GT 500 you can get carbon wheels, but man,
that's cool.
McLaren 720.
Dang, it's transforming.
Yep.
Rear arrow badge.
Bridge.
Oh, it says bridge. Excuse me. I'm kind of far from my computer. Excuse me.
I think that's it for that. It looks like there's something there, but I don't know what it says.
What's the next thing with the little tachometer or speedometer?
Oh yeah, there's one more. It's rear bumper lower, and it's like hiding it. We already have it
because it doesn't want you to have it.
No, we already have it.
It says that's enough carbon, Greg. Stop.
All right. So interior. Pardon me.
Oh dang, that's cool.
Is that
I gotta say, this is the best configurator that we've used.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's Alcantara. Oh yeah.
It's all Alcantara. The only configurator that I'm aware of that's as comprehensive as this, Aston Martin has a hell of a configurator where you can change.
Wait, no, go back to Alcantara, man. I would live in there.
Yeah,
I think I'm not a huge Alcantara fan, but on this car, it's appropriate. It's very
man.
You know, with all this Alcantara, you need to at least go around the block once completely naked.
Oh,
butt ass naked.
I would live in there. I would sleep on the dash. I would just.
Is there a dash view? Yeah, there is. Click on the Vantage below. Yeah.
I like that interior. Ooh, I like that interior a lot.
Oh, that cockpit is awesome. Look at the buttons underneath the display and the start button.
They're all metal too. Everything in there is metal. The paddles, the buttons. There's no plastic on this car.
Look at the steering wheel too. It's so cool.
Yeah. It's plain. It's cool, but it's plain and it's doesn't have 8 million buttons. Like
I see a steering wheel finish selection.
Oh, buddy, that is a nice interior.
I bet you can Alcantara the
you're reading ahead though. Stop reading ahead. Remember that in school.
Sorry,
stop reading ahead.
Sorry.
Convenience pack. What is that?
What do we get? Bowers and Wilkins. So that has to be fancy because I've never heard of that brand.
Yeah, BMW. You've never heard of? I have BMW speakers here in my home theater. It's one of the high-end speaker manufacturers. And
that's what I'm saying. It sounds fancy. So
yeah, that's
British. It's a British.
It sounds like
company.
I can't afford it.
Yeah.
So let's look at
company, which is interesting.
Speaking of which, have you seen the carbon fiber record players?
Yes.
I saw them on how it's made, and I looked it up because I was going to go buy it, but it's like $1,400 or something.
That's cheap for a turntable. I think we were at carbon primary component.
Yes.
Interested what that is.
Well, let's see what it says. Window switch surround, steering wheel clasp, and the panel surround.
We're building like, if this car starts at like $300,000, we've already put 150 grand worth of carbon fiber.
Yeah, we're gonna have to base our build on the high end of that average, Greg.
Well, the funny thing is, the average I found was only a $30,000 swing. But I can absolutely believe that legitimately I've added 30 grand worth of carbon fiber.
I'd say it's more than that, honestly. Just the front dam and the splitter and the rear, the diffuser alone, that could be like $20,000.
Well, here's a real dumb question. What do you think the insurance is on a car like this? Like legitimate, like real insurance?
No, I've already checked. I have USAA in my new purchase, which I was talking about. I'd rather keep it
secret
offline than secret. Wasn't outrageous because I don't have any tickets, and I'm 51 years old, and the older you get, the premiums slide considerably, and what I'm getting doesn't have much less horsepower than this thing does. So,
but you got to think about it. I mean, if I crash this versus crashing what you were going to get.
Yeah, but you know what, Greg, if you're buying in this price range, I don't think insurance figures into your problems.
I'm just genuinely curious.
You know, I was going to buy this $1 million car, but
Yeah, but
it's going to cost me
$10,000 a year in premiums. Nah, forget it.
You have more than that in your carbon fiber splitter.
That's what I'm worried about. That's what I want.
Your carbon fiber window switches cost more than the insurance is.
All right, let's see. Seat type. Oh. I don't know if I'm going to give up these awesome Alcantara seats though.
Yeah, but these ones are carbon fiber.
But these are fixed back, I'm guessing. Yeah. Man, I've daily driven a fixed back race seat.
Nah, I like a reclining seat.
I do too.
I mean, I've done it. It's not fun.
Yeah, I never.
Those ones are carbon fibre.
I'm sorry.
Carbon fibre.
It's British. You have to pronounce.
It's British. You put the R before the E. Yeah.
So I'm not giving up the Alcantara too, because look at the difference in the stitching and stuff.
No. Fail.
No, I'm not.
If I was tracking it, I might consider it, but if
I still wouldn't. I've proven how hardcore I am. I don't need. Now I need support. All right, sports speed specificate. What? Oh, of course, it's got to be as long as it doesn't change it.
I won't give up this. I won't give up that. I've literally driven a car sitting on a milk crate. So
who hasn't? I mean, seriously, that's a real question. Who hasn't? I think that's like a rite of passage, is it not? Like, I think everybody.
Back in my youth, I had a Saab 900 turbo in my early 20s, and I bought
Those came with milk crate standard. Like,
no, what happened was I was driving the car up to. I was in Big Sur. I had driven up to Santa Cruz for some reason, and the springs in the center of the driver's seat collapsed while I was on PCH in Big Sur, and literally my ass sank like 3 inches, like to the point where like the dashboard was at eye level, and I had to pull over and like put towels in the hole, and it was wonderful. And of course, I didn't have the money to properly fix it. So when I sold the car, it still had that hole in the seat.
Nice.
So pathetic.
All right. What's the seat back? Oh, what? So we can still get carbon fiber with our awesome.
Well, the back, which you never see,
but we'll know. It changed right here.
You'll know.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, look. Right there. Just a little bit. So we'll know.
Just a bit. Well, but it's worth the 6,000.
Yeah, and you're shaving, 3 pounds off the car. So
I don't care about that at this point. At this point, it's just to be obnoxious.
Right. At this point, the car weighs less than it's like
a strong gust will launch the car, basically.
Yeah, don't want to drive it through Palm Springs.
No. All right, what's next, Greg?
Oh, I know you always like colored seat. Okay.
Red. It's got to be red seatbelt.
Yuck.
No, maybe not. Black.
It's not a bad red. Like,
no, I don't like it.
No.
Black.
Okay.
Change it back.
No, we'll make it tennis ball green. How about that? How about that?
What's with your computer screen? That's yellow, dude.
I know it looks tennis ball green here, but then when it went up, it looked yellow.
Steering wheel type. Oh, we get into the good stuff.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh
yeah,
man.
Baby. Okay.
And the finish, what does that deliver? Alcantara, we got that. Or what is it? Leather or
there's leather or Alcantara. So
you know what? Take the carbon fiber off and see what just a full Alcantara wheel looks like.
I think that's what we had in there before.
No, there's the standard. It's all leather.
Oh, okay.
Wait, why is there carbon fiber? I took it off.
I don't know.
I think it's glitching.
Go to the next one and then select the Alcantara or black.
Right, let's see if that'll.
Ooh.
I think I like that better than the carbon on the top. Carbon fiber is glossy and slick. And in a car this fast,
well, you shouldn't be at anything but 9 and 3 anyway.
I know, but it looked like when you select carbon, it puts it all over the top. No,
actually,
I'm with Rob. I prefer the all Alcantara.
I think I do too.
Well, here's the thing. Why is the?
I don't know, man. I didn't make the website.
Yeah,
They've given us a lot. All right, be grateful.
I mean, because I would take this if I could just have this as carbon fiber and this all Alcantara around it.
I dig this look.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm gonna pretend that this isn't a glitch and this is real, and we'll take that. And then I'm gonna bitch at them when it shows up and my at this point it's got to be close to $400,000.
We're so sorry, sir.
Steering column. Jeez, you can customize this.
A power adjust. No, it's just
Telescopic or regular.
no. There's no adjustment. It is power adjust. Period.
Oh, okay.
Gear shift paddles. Obviously, they're carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Sill trim. It's already carbon fiber. Air vents.
Of course, they're carbon fiber.
Titanium harness bar. What? How do I unclick no? I want. Oh, you have to have the fixed back racing seats.
Next.
Entertainment. We've already chosen this, haven't we? Wait, isn't this the thing that has drift mode where you can adjust how much you want to let the back end come out?
Oh yeah, all of that is configurable. But track telemetry, I think, is a lap timer, and it might have a camera.
Yeah.
See, all of this stuff, we can't change it because it was included in that interior pack, I think.
Yeah, the performance pack or whatever.
Performance pack or whatever it was called.
What about security?
Guns. I want guns. 50 cals in the headlight covers.
That's going to add weight, you know.
Yeah.
I think I'd be willing to go down to like a 30 caliber.
I need a mod deuce in my McLaren, and I'm going to have one. With depleted uranium rounds.
Oh, Jesus.
Law rockets out of the bag.
I think we have everything. Oh, what is this?
The damn lug nuts. I knew it.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
All right. So apparently a volumetric alarm upgrade. Does that just turn up the volume?
Pump up the volume.
Yeah, that's what was in my head. So let's put a tracking system on it, because if somebody tries to.
Yeah, but if someone steals it, do you really want it back? Or do you just want the company to total it so that you can get a brand new one that some scumbag hasn't left his fingerprints all over?
Who's going to steal this car? The valet? Come on.
Vehicle lift. What?
Yeah, that raises the nose by about 1.5 inches so you can clear speed bumps. It's important, believe it or not, in cars like this.
Oh, it won't let me turn it off. Look.
Vehicle lift, man.
You'll be happy when you have it and you don't scrape up your carbon fiber splitter. And
no, I think the vehicle lift is like that thing on Speed Racer where he hits that button and it like it's ski jump.
I don't know what HomeLink is, but
that HomeLink, it's a button for your garage door opener, so you don't have to carry your clicker in the car.
Yeah, because I mean, if you get into a McLaren, do you really expect to see a clicker? Like, that's a problem.
That would be day class A. Let's do that.
Car cover. Are they going to show us? Do we want to cover? I feel like
we're not paying for it. Throw it in.
But I'm never going to cover this thing up. It's going to like sit in my living room.
I always buy from Covercraft for all my cars. I don't know.
Oh, Vinny, here's your
yeah.
My what?
Your
36 month.
Oh yeah.
On floor mat.
Let's see what
Rob says. Rob says we can always get those thrown in, so maybe not.
Yeah.
He says only suckers pay retail for floor mats.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if the fire extinguisher is in the passenger compartment. That's
cool. What I'm clicking now. Where
it is. No,
where?
I don't know.
You saw this, right?
Do the dash view. Maybe you can see it in the footwell of the. I bet you it's in the passenger footwell. No.
But I'm still picking it because it probably says McLaren on it.
Hell yeah.
Ashtray? No.
Yeah, dude. Come on.
No.
I'm an e-cig guy. I don't put out ash. See?
Lithium ion battery charger. Well, duh. You have to I was gonna say you have to select an owner's manual. No, you get to choose what. Like, you know what? Just for funsies, I want it in Latvian. Thank you very much. System language. So you'll give me a Latvian owner's manual, but I can't change the system to
The
Latvian.
woman's voice to Latvian.
I want my car to talk to me in Pierce Brosnan's voice. Can we get that? No? The best we can do is Yakov Smirnov? Okay.
Ooh, what is this?
In Britain, car drives you.
That's cool.
What is it?
Key is the same color as your car.
Oh, God.
That's badass.
Like, I think for the silver, that doesn't play as big a part, but when you have
and
one of those...
Hellcat guys think they're cool because they get a red key and a black key. This is better than that. This is way better than that.
Accessories. What do we got here?
It's not going to change the configurator. You have to go to that link.
Okay, so summary. All right.
$800,000.
It's just we're gonna get to the bottom. It's just gonna say a lot.
There's a lot of carbon fiber.
It's just gonna say more than you three turds can afford.
More than you can afford, pal. Ferrari.
All
Oh,
right.
that's from your favorite movie.
I still love this right here. Owner's manual, Latvian. Screenshot that, everybody. That's how you know it's our car.
Yeah.
Well, I think we built a very handsome car here. It's time now to consider its performance, price, interior, so on and so forth.
Can you just give us a quick full screen on that thing, Greg?
I actually don't know if I can full screen it. That's what I'm... Oh, there we go.
At Silver Sport Transmissions, we believe classic cars and trucks look their best on the open road, and four-wheel drives belong on the trail. We continue to innovate and develop the best overdrive transmission packages for muscle cars, street rods, classic trucks, and four-wheel drive vehicles. Our commitment to customer service and integrity is second to none. When the wrenches begin to turn, Silver Sport Transmissions is there. Hit the trail with Silver Sport Transmissions.
Anyways,
boys, are we ready to talk turkey about this car?
I believe so.
Greg, lead us.
Yes.
In breaking down this scoring situation here.
All right. Well, the first thing we've got obviously is horsepower and torque.
Yep.
And that is from McLaren itself at 710 horsepower and 568 pound-feet of torque.
Oh.
Well, this is an easy one for me because I happen to know what the figures are on the F8 Tributo, which happen to be higher. And we'll be building the F8 shortly within the next few weeks. So I'd give this a 4.5 because no one ever sneezes at 700 plus horsepower, but it's just not quite there with the F8.
What I want to know more about the power plant here. What's under the bonnet of this thing?
It is a twin turbocharged and intercooled V8.
Ooh, very cool. Twin turbo V8. I like it. That's
mid-mounted, where the all these cars that we're reviewing are. And
I guess it's not under the bonnet; it's under the boot. Sort of.
Well, is it still the bonnet because it's
mid boot? Not sure what that is.
A boot bonnet.
I have actually. I was telling a story off camera that I guess I can share on camera. But I was at a dealership. My father was buying a car, not a McLaren, but it was a combined dealership which sold a few exotic marquees, amongst them McLaren. And I got to sit in one. This is many years ago, so I don't think it was the 720, which I don't think was available then. But they had a rolling chassis on the showroom floor with no body on it. And so you could see the chassis and the power plant. My God, everything is milled to perfection. I mean, there are no mill marks on anything. It's all aluminum and carbon fiber. It's like literally a piece of art under the skin, these cars.
You know what? Based on what Rob said about the power output of the Ferrari and what we know about both the Corvette and the R8, which we've already built, I got to be in the same ballpark. You know, I feel confident giving it a 4.5 if that means the Ferrari is at a 5, for sure. You know, because as you read those numbers off, Greg, I was immediately impressed, especially when we're comparing it to you know, the base that we started with. The Corvette is, you know, more than 300 horsepower down on this thing. You know, you got to give it the 4.5.
Also take into account, I mean, it's one of the categories that we're going to vote on in a few minutes, but this thing probably weighs a feather. It's probably lighter than the Corvette with 300 more horsepower. So you got to put that into, you know, perspective here.
Incredible. And just the fact that it has a twin turbo V8, that's awesome. That's sick.
It sounds fantastic. I hear these things all the time in Beverly Hills, and they sound good, real good.
I'll have to look up a soundbite.
Well, yeah. I'm actually going to give it a little closer to the Ferrari and give it a 4.7, because the technology and the turbochargers and stuff, you know, tickles my fancy. The fact that it spins to 8,500 RPM. Yeah, it gets a 4.
Mind you though, the F8 Tributo is turbocharged, also has more power, more torque, and spins to 9,000.
And that's why it gets a 5 as opposed to, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to ding this because there's something better.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm going to give it a little bit more just because I like it.
Right on, man. Very cool. That's awesome.
Our next is going to be handling. So let me pull up the
Nürburgring times.
Well, I've got those. I've got
skid pad.
Where did my skid pad go? Skid pad. I can't find it. Was 1.1. So 1.10. That was the skid pad. The Nürburgring time. Of course, now I can't find it, but I remember what it was because I
drum roll.
7.08.
Damn.
7 minutes 8 seconds, not 7.
Oh, okay. I was
7.
Say,
yeah, not 7 flat. Oh, yeah, it was 7 minutes 8 seconds.
Man, that's cooking.
That is fast.
That's what made me like, okay, we're back where we expected to be, because you know, I think
where was the GT500?
706. So it's still
I still find that hard to believe somehow. I just don't understand how, like,
it's those carbon wheels, Rob, I'm telling you.
God, but the higher center of gravity and its front engine.
You want to know my honest opinion why the GT500 may have done that?
Please.
They were willing to sacrifice the life of the driver. No, I'm not even joking. Like, seriously, like I feel like that number was so important to them, whereas McLaren's probably like, we don't need a number to compete. Like, just go take it for a couple laps, see what comes up, you know, as opposed to we're going to be there for a week.
Maybe, but
be on the track nonstop.
If I'm a manufacturer and I'm making hypercars, I want that number, man.
That is impressive. But you know, these cars have a reputation amongst high-end car aficionados as being some of the best handling cars in the world, especially their hypercars, the P1. I saw a video with one of the guys from British Top Gear take this around the Yas Marina circuit, which is in Abu Dhabi, where they run the Formula One Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in a P1. And I mean, this guy could drive too. And I remember one of the quotes as he was going around the circuit was, this car's road holding exceeds my ability to keep my head up straight. Woo. So I gotta go. Taking a
well, before you make a thing, I want to just throw out one little detail. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, we didn't go over any of the other stuff.
In the Road and Track article, they do say it was the set of not so aggressive tires. So I'm guessing it was the non-courses.
The non-courses. Well,
take that for what you will.
What were the like the skid pad numbers and all that, Greg?
Skid pad was 1.10.
Okay.
So I mean, it's up there. Like
it's better than anything else that we've measured so far.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I'm going to take a note out of Greg's playbook, and I'm not quite going to give it that full 5 again, because I know a little something or two about the Ferrari that will be in an upcoming episode, but I'm going to give it a 4.8 in handling.
And man, I don't know if I want to score it that high, because it's on paper it's not as fast as a GT500 around the Nürburgring, which is.
But we're not comparing it to a GT500.
I know we're not.
Comparing it to a Corvette and a Ferrari and a NSX.
Okay, that's fair. Then I feel like we were overly harsh on the Corvette in episode 1. Then, granted, we had nothing else to compare it to at that point, other than what we had previously done. And
what was the road holding? What was the road holding on the Vet? I thought it was sub 1G.
Yeah, it was
sub 1G. Yeah,
it was.
I don't feel like we were overly harsh on the Corvette.
No, I just meant like, because we did use some of the other muscle cars that we built as a comparison in that episode.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got a point there, because we were marveling at the fact that a GT500 beat a mid-engine Corvette. You got me there. But really, ultimately, we should be comparing it to just the 4 cars we're building in the series, right?
Fair enough. And it smokes everything else that we've built so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say, just to vary it up, 4.75 for me.
Now, do you want to, is this where we factor in weight as well?
I mean, I guess that just, it's telling. As far
is that I'm just saying, is that this section or is that somewhere else?
How much does it weigh? I mean,
it only weighs 3161. Like, that's curb weight. Like, we're talking 3, and that's before all the carbon fiber. No, we're talking 300 pounds under the rest of the class so far.
Possibly 400 if you factor in some of that carbon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's conceivable the way, do you guys realize the way we've built it with all that carbon fiber? This car could be coming in very close to 3,000 pounds. I mean, that's
I'm gonna say I don't really believe a lot of the stuff we've added is really going to be weight reducing. I think it's going to be built with a lot of aesthetics in mind, which means a lot of heavy resin. That's just my.
I'm not sure if I agree with that, because McLaren is not the type of company that just does things for aesthetics, like Dodge having a carbon fiber dashboard inlay offering. What McLaren does, is race. This is a race team that builds cars, and I think when they say carbon fiber roof panel, I think you can pretty much be rest assured that trims 13 pounds off of the sprung weight of the car,
and drops your center of gravity probably.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't think they're messing around with this stuff.
Fair enough. I mean, this thing looks like a pissed off go-kart, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the NSX's numbers are going to be. I don't know what the Ferrari's numbers are going to be, but just giving it, I think I'm towards the 4.8 like you, because this thing is just, the numbers look amazing.
Yeah, it's on rails.
And these are the numbers I expected out of this class of car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'd probably be scoring this lower had we done this one first, because I'd expect that from it.
Yeah.
Not realizing that there are competitors that aren't giving it.
Of course, buddy, with the caveat that later on in our voting here, we're going to come to a price tag, which is going to offset all of this.
Yeah,
where the Corvette offers, it's true, it offered under 1G of road holding, but it's, the way we built it, it was like $73,000, I think, which is remarkable, and reflected in the Corvette's ultimate point score. I feel safe giving this car ultimate marks in performance, power, weight, all these things, because I know it's going to get clobbered in a few minutes when we come to, the price tag and value and things like that. So, I think this might be closer to the Corvette than we're all imagining in terms of overall numbers, is my point.
Okay.
So,
but that leaves us next to the interior, and I'm just going to say right off the bat, I'm in love with his interior. So I don't know how to be objective here, because I know that the Ferrari is probably better. I can almost guarantee you that by any measure, but looking at this interior, I'm genuinely in love.
I'm not going to be objective. You already know mine. 5, dude. That thing's perfect. I loved it. It's
yeah. I kind of feel the same way. Like, the Ferrari can match it for me.
As much as I'm a Ferraristi, so to speak, or they call them tifosi in Italy, which means Ferrari lunatic. The Ferrari, it's different in the interior. It's slightly less track oriented than this. It's a little plusher with leather and stuff, but I'm in agreement with you guys. This is different, but equally as stunning. So I give it a 5 as well.
No. It was gorgeous. The materials that they use, the material selection, like that you are afforded building it, was excellent. The layout of everything was really cool. I like the dash. I like the buttons. Everything that was made out of metal. Fantastic.
Frankly, I like the minimalism also. Out of all the cars we're going to build, this is the one that really looks like a race car on the interior. It's just stripped down. There's nothing extraneous or frilly. It is a purpose-built machine, but beautifully purpose-built as well. So
I feel like this is the bar. This sets the bar that everything else needs to meet. That's my opinion.
Yep.
So I'm good with a 5. Performance. All right, let me pull up all of our 0 to 60 and stuff. 0 to 60, 2.7. So that would make it the quickest one we've looked at so far.
What was the last one? 2.9?
2.8 was the
Corvette.
And the R8 was
3.
Well, 2.9 if you believe Audi, but then the actual independent tests were at like 3.1. This has the standing quarter mile on this is 10.2 seconds.
Wow.
So that, I believe that's also the quickest we've looked at.
And these might very well be numbers based on, like a base configuration. And as
it is not a base configuration, I can tell you that.
Okay.
These numbers are from Car and Driver.
I was going to say, with all the carbon fiber we have on it, you might even be able to trim a 1/10 out of
that. And you said they use the less aggressive tires as well.
Yes, I will say this: the prices tested is $100,000 flat above base. So this is a well-optioned vehicle.
Okay.
And
so braking.
Well, here's the thing: they have a 70 to 0 for some reason. Because I saw the number and I was like, what the hell?
British.
Yeah, but 149 feet with that extra 10 miles an hour. So that 149 is not a good number until you realize it's 70, not 60.
And where was like the Corvette in that department?
The Corvette was at 119, 118, I think, from 60 to 0. The R8 was 94 or something.
Wow. Really?
The R8 was the only sub 100 on the list from what I remember looking at the list.
Well, clearly, I mean, this is the fastest car, or quickest, I should say, that we've tested. Does it have a top speed there?
212.
Woo!
And that's drag limited.
Right.
Manufacturer's claim. They did not test, or they are not admitting to testing the top speed.
Yeah, notwithstanding the braking, it's clearly the fastest car we've tested. Again, I believe that the Ferrari might nick this. I'm not positive, but I'll go with a 4.8 out of 5.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm right there, because here's the thing with braking, because braking is, again, the only little sticking point in my mind.
Mhm.
But when you're that's all exponential, isn't it? Like the
Mhm.
curve. So because it's force, mass times acceleration, all that. So 70 going to 70 miles an hour, that's a big jump. I mean, I'm not saying that I think this is anywhere near 90 feet from 60, but it's probably going to be down in the one teens.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to really fault it for that.
Mhm. And it's offset by an incredible
Yeah.
quarter mile and 0 to 60 times as well.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, just the passings and the rolling starts and everything makes sense for this one too, where it didn't so much for was it the Corvette or the R8 that didn't make sense for. But I feel like there's room to be faster somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be 4.7, I think. Like it's great, it's awesome, but at the end of the day, add another 100 horsepower to it. Those big ass carbon brakes should be doing a little bit better, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 4.7. I'm gonna ding it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're off base. It's just I mean, man, how do I argue with that quarter mile time and that 0 to 60? I mean, it just blows everything else that we've measured so far out of the water. And obviously we know that the Ferrari is, it is what it is. So I can't give it the full 5 here, but come on.
Yeah, and the thing about the Ferrari is, although it's got a fairly considerable chunk of horsepower above this car, that weight figure was astonishing, and I'm not altogether sure that the F8 is as felt as this car is. So we're going to have to wait and see in turn. I mean, I know it's got the McLaren on power, but as to ultimate performance, it might be closer than any of us think. So,
well, I mean,
I know it's a low 10-second car. 10.2 is fast.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
And the thing to think about too, I mean, with a twin turbo system and you're at 3161, if that was a naturally aspirated engine, you'd probably be closer to 3 flat.
Yeah.
Because turbos are heavy. Like, let's just,
And I believe, and I believe on McLaren's, they're actually sequential turbos. So there's like little to no lag as well.
This all says twin, all the stuff.
Yeah, but I think they come on sequentially, and I think one turbo might actually be smaller than the other, so it spins up quicker. And then the second turbo comes on, which is a larger turbo. So who knows?
But yeah, so I there's nothing to ding this on, really. I mean,
it's pretty hard.
Now we get to ding it.
Yeah.
Price.
Yeah. So
well, I mean, we can go with the car and driver prices tested. We could, since we know we mess with it.
Yeah. What is just so our viewers know, what is the base price of a McLaren 720S coupe?
This says 288,845.
Okay.
However,
after measuring all this, that's a bargain.
However, if you go just online, like and like we did originally, the base of a 2020 says 299.
Okay.
So again, I'm gonna trust car and driver over random internet search, but I think I'm comfortable using their prices tested with how we upgraded it,
which is
378, 215.
Wow.
So I mean, if we're comfortable with this, like, I'll enter it into the spreadsheet as our.
I think it has to be on the higher end. If it's not 370 something, it's got to be more than that. I would think, the way that we optioned it.
Yeah.
It could be closer to $400,000 as we optioned it, because we pretty much didn't say no to anything of significance. So, well, yeah, time to ding, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is a god awful amount of money. And I just, It's interesting when we live in an age where we have American muscle cars that are able to produce similar Nürburgring times.
Similar every times. Let's be honest.
With a higher center of gravity and a non-mid-engine configuration, and you can get them for under 100 grand, built up. It won't have the interior of a McLaren. It's not as beautiful as a McLaren. The materials are substandard to those used by McLaren. It doesn't have a Formula One heritage behind it like McLaren does. And they're not, exclusive in any way, shape, or form, whereas McLaren, compared to Ford, Dodge, what have you, Chevrolet is a relatively small company producing a small annual output of cars. You can weigh it both ways. I always think to myself, every once in a while I'll think to myself, man, if I had screw everybody money in this world, if I had $20, $30 million, what material things would I gravitate towards, and I'm in a lot of ways a bleeding heart where I would probably give a lot of money away to animal rescues and stuff like that. But there would be things that I would want to buy for myself. And I think you both know me well enough to know that it would come in the form of cars, because I don't really spend much money or extravagant money on anything else. I'm not a clothes whore. I'm not a Rolex guy. I don't really care about that stuff. And would a McLaren be worth $400,000 to me if money was relatively no object? And I think the answer for me is it wouldn't be completely out of line, but there are things I would probably want to spend $400,000 on in the automotive world before I spend it on a McLaren. I mean, like a Ferrari to me trumps a McLaren in terms of Formula One heritage. It trumps McLaren, or at least is on par with McLaren when it comes to the technology and the looks and the interior. And, McLaren's not outbuilding a Ferrari. And if both cars were $400,000, I would go for the Ferrari in a heartbeat. So I know this is kind of a long-winded answer, but I'm having trouble determining, how bad I ding this. I mean, just in terms of pure money, it's a zero, right?
Yeah.
Because nothing should cost $400,000, that you drive in. It's a ridiculous concept, but look what it offers. I mean, look at that interior, look at that shape with those fins behind the front wheel arches and the active aerodynamics and all the carbon fiber and the racing history. It's just tough.
Before we built this thing, I would have agreed with you, Rob. I would have said, well, I would rather spend my money on a Ferrari. But now, man, McLaren made a strong case for itself in this episode, building this thing, and for whatever that's worth.
Well, I want to
also, just give me 2 seconds to add that McLarens are technically extremely precise cars. They tend to lack something in passion. Like, you don't get into McLaren and feel a romantic relationship with one. It's more like you sit in one and you're just impressed by the fit and finish and the technical precision of it. When you get into a Ferrari, there's so much emotion involved in a Ferrari that you don't really get with McLaren.
Well, when we did the R8, it got a 2.5 from me. And it was $150,000 cheaper than this. But I feel like this is a better value for the money you're spending.
That's my point.
Well, so I'm gonna have to give it a 3 because I can't give it a 5 because it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous amount of money. But I feel like it's a better value than the R8, so it's got to get a higher score.
What were Vinny and my votes on this category for the R8 out of curiosity?
Let me pull that up. But I believe you guys were right around. I think Vinny might have been a 2. Let me.
Yeah, I'm with Greg. I'm in the same boat. You know, to me, this is a much better use of your money than buying that R8.
Oh, well, that's clear. I mean, you know.
Yeah,
but
Vinny was a 2 and you were a 2.75 and I was a 2.5.
I think all of these things jumbling, you know, going through my head, I think ultimately, you know, it's $400,000. There's no way to give a high value to that. I do agree with you, Greg, that it's money better spent than on the R8 because there is a serious echelon of performance involved between the two cars. And if you're already spending, you know, $180,000 for an R8, you clearly are in the, you know, same category to be able to choose a McLaren. Neither car is for someone who's making less than $1 million a year. Let's admit it. So I'm gonna give it a 2.5. I think that's a fair score.
Okay.
You know, it offers more performance than the.
I mean, so you're scoring it less than the R8 though overall.
Well, just because it's $150,000 more. It's
all I'm gonna say is I want you to remember this when it comes to the Ferrari. I mean, that's all I'm saying. I'm not dinging you. I'm not pushing you. I'm just saying, just remember that.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna temporarily put a hold on my vote and listen to you guys talk.
I'm at the same spot as Greg. I was going to give it a 3 because you know, I think it's a much better value. And it's not like, okay, $400,000 isn't a lot of money. Of course it is. But I would, if we're, like you just said, if we're considering any of these cars, excluding the Corvette, of course, then that means you have some scratch to throw around. And so for me, I would buy this over that R8 in a heartbeat. It's not even a contest. So
yeah, I'm kind of failing to put that into.
Yeah, I mean, see, you're looking at it from a real world. Oh my God, I'm writing a check. This money's going to come out of my bank account. Versus, well, how much is my dollar worth? Like, what is my dollar worth?
But we have a separate category of value, don't we?
Well, that's the thing. Value is kind of the overall calculation. And realistically, if we're quibbling over half a point, we're not really going to affect value all that much.
All right. So here's the thing. You're right. It does constitute a better value than the R8 because there is a marked increase in performance. I think you're right. I think I'm stumbling on the fact that this car costs almost as much as my first house did, you know? Not much less than the first house I ever bought in my life. And okay, I'm with you guys. I'll go with 3. I'll go with 3 because it's a better value than the R8, and I voted 275 on the R8. Yeah, I'll go with 3. Whatever.
And one thing that I'm thinking of as we're doing all this, why did we leave out the Ford GT again?
Because it's
$4 million.
No, it's 400 grand.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
but that's like listed price. Dealers were
there was no dealer. It came straight from Ford.
Ford.
You wrote Ford. I mean, Ford had to invite you to buy one.
You're talking the first one they did, or
no, the EcoBoost, the EcoBoost V6 one.
Really, I thought that was fetching like $1 million for those cars.
No, because I don't even think they can sell them yet legally because they had to sign that contract. Because remember, John Cena sold his within like 6 months.
Yeah, and
they
he
sued
got
him.
in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not even sure they
Well,
can
maybe
legally
we
sell
should
them.
add it. They have a configurator. I've built one before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. Fact is, yes, I'm a huge GT fan, but I don't think it's going to compare to this. I don't think the Ford GT wins over the McLaren. I mean, just without really digging into it, I don't think it wins. Like at that price point. So I just think it might be another something to add in, especially if the NSX, isn't configurable. It might just be an added data point. I don't know. Just
Okay.
thinking out loud.
No, I was under the impression that it was a much more expensive car.
I mean, I'm sure when they finally start hitting the $1 million one, I think you're thinking of was a charity car. It was like number one across Barrett Jackson or something.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's where I got the idea.
But they probably will be once you can start selling them, because they were so limited, restricted, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I just a thought as we're talking about the price. I didn't think this one was going to be this expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah. So next is X Factor.
Yeah.
This one's real easy for me. Yeah, flat out. This is
that twin turbo V8, man. That's awesome.
This car is my absolute favorite in this segment. And I didn't think it would be, but it is. The 720S. I love it.
Me either. I didn't expect to like this car so much, man. You got so many options. The configurator was fantastic. All that carbon, just the looks of the car alone. The interior was amazing. The twin turbo V8, so cool. Yeah, I dig it. It's a cool car.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, one of the things we always talked about is the status and availability. Dude, tell me you're not going to break necks wherever you go in this car, unless it's like Pismo Beach or something.
They're baller. But I do have one question. Is this a D-bag car?
Well, it depends who's behind the wheel, If it's
I don't.
You know what I mean?
I say inherently, I don't think so. I don't think
in Beverly Hills they're all D-bag cars, because it's usually a 65-year-old guy with a 19-year-old girl in the passenger seat who isn't his daughter. And, it's an extension for that kind of guy of certain less impressive body parts he might have. But, I always thought, if one day I'm lucky enough to fulfill my dream of owning a Ferrari, I'm not going to look like a D-bag behind the wheel, because I'm a car guy. I'm not a show-off guy. I'm not a guy who's going to be wearing a lot of gold and stuff while I'm driving. I'm going to be wearing a concert tee like I am now.
Are you going to be the Jay Leno style where you're like, hey, you want to go for a ride?
Yeah, but does Jay Leno ever look like a D-bag in those cars?
No, not at all. No, that's what I'm saying. Like he's very generous with his time.
You're not as Nicolas Cage once put it, a self-indulgent wiener.
Right. And here's the thing, if we're going to be honest, what's the biggest D-bag car made? It's not a McLaren. I got news for you. Yeah, you're making that face, Vinny, because the big D-bag car, at least in Los Angeles, is a Corvette.
Oh, I was gonna go Ferrari.
Oh, I was gonna say Lambo.
Ferrari.
I was gonna say Lamborghini.
No, yeah.
Corvettes in California attract a certain kind of guy with like a big Magnum PI mustache, and he's usually wearing driving gloves. And he just looks like a real Orange County dick.
I know.
Say it.
I know too many regular Corvette owners.
That hasn't been my experience. I know young guys that own Corvettes. I know old guys that own Corvettes. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I would go with the Lambo over to the Ferrari. But I think Lambo's probably.
Let's change the angle of attack here for a second. What is the X factor of this car? For me, there's really only two road-going cars that can claim to have the depth of Formula One racing heritage to them. And it's this brand, and it's Ferrari. Nothing else comes close. both of those companies at various times in history have dominated the world of Formula One. So really, you're talking about two companies that have excelled at the highest technological form of motorsport there is. You don't get higher than F1. And to me, that would be the allure of the car, beyond its aesthetics, beyond its interior, beyond that twin turbo V8 and the performance that it affords. That's the X factor for me.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm going to be honest, because I know Vinny and I have both given it 5s. If you give it a 5, I'm going to be a little disappointed, because I know that Ferrari has to have a 5 for you because of what it is in your heart. I'm just going to say,
guys, this comes close.
It can, but I would be very surprised if you said 5.
I'm not going to go with a 5, but I'm going to be fair, and I'm going to fall back on a 4.8 again.
Okay.
It's a hell of a car. I would definitely own one. I hope I wouldn't look like a D-bag in it, because when you see me driving by, I'm gonna keep it in a lower gear on purpose, longer than I have to, just to listen to that low gear and high RPM scream. And you
guys want a little bit of a spoiler happening right now? I just peeked at something.
You what?
Yeah, I just peeked at something. Do you guys want the spoiler?
Okay.
With one category left to go, we have already completely surpassed the RH raw numbers. It's obvious that we like this a lot more.
For sure.
I mean, but we're already past it, and we still have one more category.
Yeah, oddly enough, I had today I had to leave my house because which I haven't been doing a lot of lately, and I was in Studio City, and I actually saw a graphite gray R8, and I was thinking of you guys. And that it's not a bad looking car, but boy, it doesn't turn your head like this car does. And I've seen these on the street.
I think for X Factor, before we built this thing, I kind of had that impression that this was like a little bit of a pompous kind of jerk car. But now, after you explaining the history of the company, the heritage behind it, us building the car, actually looking at all the options, I'm so impressed. I love this car a lot, and I like it more than I thought I would, and that's why I gave it a 5.
Yeah, and plus I'm gonna add into I can't make my X factor any higher, it's already a 5, but the amount of carbon fiber I can put on it, like
well, the configurability of the car is astonishing. Like I said, the only car that I've ever built online that has a greater number of options is Aston Martin, like the old Vanquish, or the current I forget what their Halo model is called right now, the DBS maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can do things on the Aston Martin that are equally as configurable as this, different steering wheel finishes and all that kind of crap, like 3 kinds of quilting on the seats and stuff like that. I mean, this is a no joke car, and I actually knew going into it, because I think I have a bit more appreciation, but I've dabbled in the world of exotic cars a little bit more than you two. Even though I'm a muscle car guy just like you, I also have a great appreciation for European super and hyper cars. So I knew this was a real contender, and I'm good with a 4.8, and I'm good with you guys being at a 5.
Okay.
And what's the last category, Greg?
Just looks.
Oh, 5.
Really?
Fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic. The only thing that I would have liked would have been, like, I know that it has that active spoiler, but even when it's closed, I would have liked to have seen just a little,
a little something.
Yeah, a little something there. But other than that, I think is a great.
McLaren does form over function as its is reason for being. So everything that's on the car and everything that's not on the car, believe me, has more to do with function than, sorry, I said form over function. I meant function over form.
We're tracking.
It's a gorgeous car inside and out. It's as we've established, it's a super head turner. But there's one car that we're going to do in the future that I think trumps it. In my mind, it trumps it. So 4.8 again for me.
Now, for me, I've got to be intellectually honest here, right? I dinged the Corvette on some stuff that it would be very unfair for me to give this a 5 for. While this does have an extremely awesome palette to choose from, I don't like the wheel selection. These wheels, I like the color. I do not like the style. I don't like the style of any of the wheels that they offered. I will say, I can unequivocally say, this is my favorite looking car that we have or will be looking at. This is my favorite. I want to give it a 5. If I'm being intellectually honest, I can't. I have to ding it because I don't like the wheels. How much to ding it, I don't know. Like Vinny brought up, which is probably going to hurt it a little more. Why is there not a carbon fiber wheel option? And that's not even my carbon fiber, I want. That's just, there's $80,000 cars that have carbon fiber wheel options. I mean, hell, let's be honest, there's $65,000 cars with carbon fiber wheel options. Granted, not anymore because the GT350 isn't out anymore, but still. How hard do I ding that?
I don't know, man. I like Rob said, the Ferrari is yet to come, but like, to me, they're totally different cars. But they're equally good looking. So I don't know. I don't know how much you want to ding it just for the wheels. Like,
well, it's for the looks, and I'm just trying to be intellectually honest because I nailed the Corvette, which I think is gorgeous for its paint selection and its wheel selection.
Can I maybe help you out with something? The one drawback, and I didn't mention it in discussing its looks because I was kind of coming at this just from pure aesthetics. But one thing that does bother me about McLaren, and I've talked to other people who are very knowledgeable about super and hypercars as well, a lot of people find fault with McLaren styling because, and I'm not exaggerating, all their cars look the same. They have like 6 different models, and they do not put nomenclature on the exterior of their cars. There is nothing on this car that says 720 anywhere, inside and out. And I would defy you or anyone else, even really not, I'm talking about people in the McLaren factory who build these cars, to take a quick 1-second glance at a McLaren and tell you which one they're looking at.
Well, see, well, first off, I don't take any offense to that at all, because as we saw when there were, I can't remember who did it, but it had 25 different current model SUVs all next to each other, all lined up, and they look exactly the same. That's what happens when you build your car in a wind tunnel. It's what happens.
No, that's true.
So number one, I'm not going to fault them for that. Number two, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because there are more expensive McLarens that this could be mistaken for.
Yeah, I mean, the Senna is a very distinctive car, but I'll tell you what,
it sure better be.
If you lined a P1, which was even more expensive than a Senna, up next to this car, you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference.
So yeah, so that's not something I'm going to knock it on, I don't think, because I mean, I get the the design in the wind tunnel, the functional design, I get that, and okay, so it looks like a more expensive car. Oh no. Oh, it looks like a cheaper car. Well, those cheaper cars still look gorgeous. I think I'm gonna have to go with a 4.9 because the reason is pretty minor. And I love the way it looks, even with the wheels that I'm not a super fan of that are on the car right now. I still like the way it looks.
I actually preferred the first choice of wheel that we had that got knocked off when we did the, what was it, the performance?
Yeah, the
So did I. So did I. I didn't mind
flat
the
out, I didn't like any of them. I mean, and that's the problem, is that would really hurt my soul to walk into the dealership knowing I was going to have to go buy a set of like forge lines or something, right?
Well, they would probably, if you're spending this much money on a car and you want the performance pack or speed pack, and you say to the dealer, I hate those wheels, can I have those wheels? Guaranteed they'll swap wheels.
But that's the thing. There's nothing in the catalog, at least the catalog we saw, that I like.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't.
Well, I like, see, I differed that I actually thought the first wheel was attractive.
I didn't think it looked bad. I just, none of them are my style. Like the one that we have with that slight offset for that bothers me. I don't like those.
It's a big, I think for me, it's a big deal what you're saying, Greg, because I'd feel dirty putting aftermarket wheels on this car. I would never want to do that.
I feel filthy doing that.
Yeah, like what?
Well, I wouldn't if I went with like, a good set of like $6,000 or $8,000 wheels.
There is not a brand.
That might be the funniest thing I've ever heard you say in like 5 years, dude.
It's true though. I mean, there's not an aftermarket company on par with this auto manufacturer. There's nobody who makes an aftermarket wheel that's nice enough for me to go out and buy and put on this car.
See, I disagree on that. And that's just my opinion. I do feel like, I mean, hell, just to upset some people, I'd put some welds on this thing, take it to the drag strip. Like,
some bead locks or
just to be obnoxious. Because at this point I've got FU money, right? So like, let's go.
I'm generally an OEM wheel kind of guy. If they offer a wheel that I like, I'd never change out OEM wheels. But if a car's offered with a set of wheels that you don't like, and aesthetics are a very subjective thing, I could see how you would feel that way.
So I mean, and honestly, like as much as I like my 5-spokes, I don't think it would look right on this. Like it wouldn't. So I would have to go out of my comfort zone. But I do know that of the ones that are offered, none of them do anything for me. So and that's a very minor ding. So I'm gonna say 4.9, because again, I wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating crackers.
Yeah.
Like
5, man, thing's gorgeous. Like I said, it's like I anticipate giving the Ferrari, because I know what it looks like already. I'm gonna give that a 5 too. But they're totally different animals. They're just, you know what I mean? Like I said at the beginning of this episode, this thing looks like something that was designed, when they were drawing up the storyboard for Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool. It's futuristic. When I look at the Ferrari, it's more classic, even though it's modern, but
a little more heritage.
The Ferrari is very feminine. It's very cat-like, whereas this car, like I think Greg really hit it on the head when he was talking about wind tunnel. Although Ferrari possesses their own wind tunnel at the factory, and obviously they don't put anything on their cars that harms its aerodynamics. They start from a design point of view. Ferrari always starts from a very feminine, they tell Pininfarina or whoever's designing the car, this is a woman you're designing, and at McLaren, it's probably a much more practical, way of attacking this, where it's like, we want it to be pretty, but it function comes first. And so all the scoops and all the ducting and everything that you see on there is aesthetics comes well second. Whereas I think Ferrari tries to find a balance between aesthetics and function more.
And then you have the R8, which is like, put straight line there, put curve there.
Yeah, the German mentality. But I agree with you guys. Out of all the cars we've built so far, it's my favorite. I don't think it'll remain my favorite, but you never know. You never know.
Well, we got our numbers, and I've got the R8 numbers pulled up, and I've got the C8s pulled up as well. So
Cool.
We can look at all of them. Who do you want to compare it to first?
Do you already have so you already have the point dollar per point?
Yeah, everything's all calculated.
Okay. Look at you with your Excel.
Yeah, everything's all calculated. And I will tell you the dollar per point, all three cars are just miles apart from one another. Nobody's like hovering. The price of the McLaren really hurt it. Like there's no overcoming, no matter how much we like it. Because in raw score, we like it best, which is pretty understandable, right? It's the best car so far. In price per or dollar per point, we're at 11,800, 11,782, and 11,931 because we were all pretty close on the score, just like always. The R8 was 93.47, 85.14 because apparently I liked it more than everybody else, and 85.99. So Rob was pretty close to me. But still, so we're talking low of 85.14, high of 93.47 versus mid 11s across the board.
Man.
The Corvette,
yeah.
The high Corvette was 31.37. The low Corvette was 29.67.
Sheesh.
So
what about the dollar? What about the dollar per point?
That is the dollar per point. That's
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's remarkably better value. However, the scores, the raw scores, are higher than the R8.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because we got 27.75, 26.5, and 26.25 versus 23, 25, and 25.
Yeah, none of us really cared for the R8 all that much.
And then you go to the raw score of the McLaren, and we're at 32, 31.7.
So in layman's terms, the ranking thus far is R8 is at the bottom, then the Corvette, then the McLaren.
As
well, depends on how numbers, raw numbers, yes.
But dollar per point,
the
Corvette, else.
Well, that's the thing. The dollar per point, the raw value, when I shouldn't say raw because raw hasn't had everything tabulated. The amount of the car is really hurting these cars.
I think that makes sense. I mean, you're talking such dear prices for some of these cars for, I mean, there's a big difference between an 11-second car and a 10-second car, but at the same time, there isn't. Do you know what I mean?
On the street, 110%.
Yeah. I mean, when you're the exponential dollar figure compared to like, a second on the street, is kind of unjustifiable.
I mean, if we did the math, let me just do this real quick. Actual percentage, how much more the McLaren is than the Corvette. The McLaren was 37 or 378, 215, and we'll divide that by 82,530, 82,350. 4.6 times more money.
Wow.
You could have 4.6 Corvettes for one McLaren. I'd make the trade, don't get me wrong. If I had 5 Corvettes, I'd trade it for the McLaren.
And just as a reminder to put that in a certain context, what was the quarter mile time of a Corvette again?
Was it 11.2?
Yeah.
And a 0-60 of 2.8, and the McLaren at a 2.7. So you're talking a tenth of a second to 60, which, that's well within the margin of error, driver error, wheel spin, whatever. And a quarter mile time that's less than a full second.
Well, that is a big second in drag racing.
I know that in drag racing.
That is
talking
a big
about
second.
Like we said before, on the street, in terms of bragging rights on the street, you're spending 4 times as much money for a car that will only gap the Corvette by less than a second.
Let's also be real fair. If we're talking about on the street, none of these cars are turning these times on the street. These are on prep tracks.
Of
like
course.
you've got a car that actually has a decent working suspension and it's going to stomp. I mean, you have a good working 12-second car on the street, it's going to stomp both these cars in a street race. Like these cars are not going to hold a candle to a street race car. Because if you set your suspension up right, I mean, you could I would even venture to say you could have somebody who's tickling the 13-second zone that would probably, if it ran 13s on a real crap road, it might give these cars a run for their money because they are not going to hook
It's
up.
something to consider, and it's why this shootout is valid in a lot of ways, because we're really coming to the crux of the argument, which originally was, how does a Corvette rank amongst the world's best mid-engine cars? And in a lot of ways it falls short, but in a lot of ways it's clearly the best value there is in the world in terms of performance cars.
It's undeniable, man.
And I'm going to be real excited when we can put the new levels of Corvette up to this test, because then for anybody who's value minded, here's this level of Corvette. Anybody who wants to throw down 150 grand, let's see what we got. I mean, because who knows, the ZR1 might be a value as well, because it's kicking all these other ones' asses.
Yeah, I actually on Facebook the other day, I saw a post. I don't remember if it was Car and Driver or Autoblog or Road and Track, but there was a recent update on the Z06 confirming a flat plane crank on it. And like we were discussing an episode or two ago, they're not going to throw that at a Corvette for a minimal horsepower gain. We expect to be well above 500 and probably in the mid 500 range.
I would
500 range.
I would like to see them push it even more, because that volumetric efficient wise, they could probably get closer to 575, maybe even 600 naturally aspirated, and not really be pushing it that hard. And I think that would be more fitting. I just don't know what that would be.
And would take it really into a different level in this comparison. I mean, it would definitely stomp the R8 more than it is in terms of value and so forth. I don't think at that power level it could really compete with this McLaren though. And the NSX remains a mystery for the time being until we build it. So.
I'm
elusive NSX.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where this ends up. Like seriously,
I'm going to keep my eyes on the Acura website on Friday, and hopefully there'll be a configurator we can play with next week.
Yeah, because I mean, the RSX, I keep saying RSX because no, it is not a front wheel drive integral
sedan.
But the NSX, I feel like it's gonna be a quiet, a sleeping dragon.
Sleeper. Yeah.
That people.
What about so it's not mid-engine, but like we talked about alternatives to the NSX in the chance that we're not able to build one. And we talked about obviously the Godzilla, the GTR. What about like the Lexus LS? What is it? ISF?
Wait, the LFA?
LFA. Excuse me.
They don't build LFAs anymore, so we can't configure them.
Oh, okay.
It was an astonishing car in a lot of ways, blew people's minds. First of all, it has a V10 in it and might very well be the last V10 ever built. It also revved beyond 9,000 RPMs. And most like big car magazines, Car and Driver, Motor Trend and stuff said without question it's the best sounding car we've ever tested in our lives.
Wow.
And it was fast as the devil. It had exclusivity. in its favor, because I think they only built like 499 of them or something like that. I was lucky enough to stand next to one at the LA Auto Show in 2017, maybe, and was a phenomenally beautiful car too. I mean, it had Ferrari level exterior aesthetics in a Japanese car, but it's gone, Vinny. I mean, they stopped building them, and ones I saw a low mileage one just the other day advertised, and they were asking for close to $1 million for it. So.
That's hard when it's a Toyota. It's hard, it's just
hard, but I mean, that was a $400,000 Toyota new.
I know. I'm just saying. Now, where does the Valkyrie come in with all these?
Well,
cars?
Valkyrie's in a totally different echelon. It hasn't been released yet. The Valkyrie, for those who don't know, is Aston Martin's Halo hypercar based on Formula One technologies across the board, much more so than the McLaren we just built.
They better know about it, because I've written enough articles about that engine. So they better know about it.
Well, the designer of the Valkyrie is a British gentleman by the name of Adrian Newey, who is the technical director for Red Bull Racing in Formula One. The Valkyrie is a combined joint effort between Red Bull Racing and Aston Martin, who were partners in Formula One until recently. And if ever there's been a Formula One car for the street, the Valkyrie is going to be it. But you're probably talking about a $4 million price tag. And
I mean, look at the engine, 1,000 horsepower, naturally aspirated, 100 RPM, with a warranty through 4 cats.
And I mean, it's got Formula One aerodynamics all over it. It's got a carbon fiber chat, like it's the whole car is carbon fiber.
Isn't that the car that they're going to reveal in the new James Bond flick?
I don't know if it is or not, but I've seen pictures of it and it's astonishing looking. But again, that's a different echelon from what we're building here. I mean, totally different league.
I mean, the
engine maybe we add a
hypercar,
a Halo hypercar shootout at some point once they're all.
Who knows what we're going to do next? Maybe we'll do.
What about badass SUVs, muscle
SUVs, or
we could do the Trackhawk versus the world,
Yeah, sport compacts. We could do.
There's nothing sport compact that's worth.
We can just do this forever.
We went through that. No, but
people
definitely.
love everything. There's groups of people that'll,
everything. I do like the SUV thing. That's cool because most companies are making something now that's a muscle SUV.
Absolutely. I mean, Jeep has got the Trackhawk, BMW has the M, AMG, or Mercedes has the AMG versions of its SUVs. Lamborghini makes an SUV now. Ferrari is coming out with one next year.
Mustang has the Mach-E.
Shut up. I just saw something on Facebook today that said someone spied an Expedition ST.
Oh, really?
An Expedition ST. Let that sink in. It does not make sense.
What would it have in it? A Coyote?
I have no idea. It was literally just a spy shot, and they're like, "Is this an Expedition ST?" And I'm like, "How would you know?"
An Explorer ST would be really cool.
Explorer ST, yeah.
Explorer Expedition's a little big to throw.
The Explorer ST is an awesome vehicle.
That would be a cool one to build too. If you can still build them.
Yeah.
Throw the GT500's engine in an SUV. I mean, that's basically what Jeep did.
Yeah.
For the Trackhawk, they took the Hellcat and just.
For some reason, no other auto manufacturer has the cojones that Dodge does.
You mean by cojones? I think you mean drug problem.
Yeah, it's basically just stupid at Dodge.
Not since the days of John DeLorean have we seen a reckless abandon.
Yeah, it's stupid in the best way possible. Yes. I'm surprised they didn't do a Pacifica minivan Hellcat yet. They're just.
You just wait.
Yeah, they're basically like, screw it, this is cool, you know.
I don't know. I think they finally gave in with the electric muscle car. I think they finally admitted it's over.
Let's hold reservations until we see it and find out what it is. I'm not on the electric bandwagon myself.
But they are the very first ones to do it the way we've all said they should do it.
Yeah.
So
I think Dodge is going to be the first one to do us all proud and do it the right way.
Could
but
be.
I
we'll
hope
see.
so.
Gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
2.5 hours strong.
Yep.
So in the interest of keeping it short,
it's all relative.
Yeah. I think this episode was a great success in a series of successes that we've had so far. Improving that the Corvette is a fantastic value, and there's some other awesome cars out there, man. So, you know, as we kind of wrap up, can we get your final thoughts, Rob, and then Greg?
Well, I knew the McLaren was going to shake some leaves out of the trees, so to speak. It's an astonishing car. It's an expensive car, and there's a massive leap in that expense between the Corvette and even the R8 compared to the McLaren and ultimately the Ferrari when we build it. But that's what this is all about. This is comparing dollars, performance, desire, passion for these cars. I think the NSX is going to be interesting if indeed we get to build it, because it'll be on the lower cost end of the spectrum, closer to the Corvette than like the R8 is to the McLaren. And then, you know, the McLaren and the Ferrari are going to be pretty close in price. And I think the numbers we keep getting are really revealing, you know, and interestingly, today, I think was probably out of any car we've built, muscle cars or this series, I think we all voted closest to one another on this car, which I find really interesting.
Yeah, without a doubt it is. Looking at the numbers, it is.
Yeah, I mean, we were all within tenths of a point of one another, and oftentimes agreed fully across the board. So yeah. I think this was a great success. I'm enjoying this series, and I'm looking forward to the NSX and then my Ferrari.
Right on. Greg, do you have any parting shots?
I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't realize how much that we can mention an $82,000 car in the same breath as a almost $400,000 car and actually be giving credit to both of them. We're not disparaging one by comparing it to the other. Mm-hmm. And even though, like, money notwithstanding, they are still pretty comparable vehicles. Like, I expected we were going to have a lot more for the money on the Corvette. And it does rely heavily on for the money, but it's also a genuine player, I think, in this segment.
Yeah, I think that's really safe to say, especially, you know, when we get into the NSX, and we've already seen with the R8, it hangs, you know, it hangs with these cars. It's not going to hang with a McLaren, and it's not going to hang with a Ferrari in terms of performance, but clearly performance in terms of, you know, by dollars, it's still, you know, the leading contender for the best value in the world right now.
I would even go so far as to say, and that to put myself out on a limb with somebody who's like, oh, I can prove you wrong. If you put these cars on the street, not the racetrack, not the drag strip, not the Nürburgring, but the street, their performances stop being so different. They're going to be a lot closer in the real world than anyone wants to admit.
You know,
and if anybody wants to sponsor us so that we can find out, we can do that. Just let us know.
Yeah, and I was just going to say real quick, can you imagine if all of these cars were offered in a stick shift so that, you know, driver abilities were figured in? You know, you'd have Corvettes beating Ferraris, or you know, R8s beating McLarens, you know. driver ability used to really factor in for a lot. And sadly, with the advent of dual clutch autos and paddle shifters and stuff, it's not quite, and traction control, we got to say, it's not quite the dual that it used to be. But I think Greg's right. You put them on a street, and wait for the stoplight to go green, and all of these cars are, right there with each other.
Well said, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Rob. I sincerely look forward to next week when we get to hear you talk about maybe fingers crossed, the history of Acura or maybe some other JDM brand.
And we'll be getting into Formula One talk technology as well with the NSX. There's some really interesting aspects to the genesis, especially of the original NSX from the late 80s, early 90s, that has a very direct Formula One link that I think will surprise a lot of people.
Isn't there a Senna link there as well?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Don't blow it.
I would like to think that anybody watching this would kind of know that.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody at home, if you want to find out the whole story, tune in next week when Rob breaks it down for us. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Rob, hang out for us for 1 second. We're going to take a quick commercial break and then we'll let you go.
Cool.
I'm Jim McElvain from Optima Batteries, and I'm here today to talk about why batteries aren't made like they used to be. You've heard people say that, and it's true. Batteries aren't made like they used to be made. They're made better than ever, but people are still having battery problems. So why is that? Because new vehicles are more demanding than ever on their batteries. I came out here in a Chevrolet Silverado that had air-conditioned seats, it had satellite radio, it had Wi-Fi, it had OnStar, it had all kinds of stuff. And you need strong batteries to power all that. So the batteries they're putting in vehicles today are sometimes 30% bigger than the batteries they put in 10, 15, 20 years ago. So what can you do to extend and maximize the performance of your battery regardless of the brand? Use a battery charger or maintainer. Use it once a month. This is the Optima Digital 400 charger and maintainer. Anybody can use it. It's no spark technology, so you won't hurt yourself using it. Positive on positive, negative on the ground. That's it. It'll do the rest. Take care of your battery. It'll take care of you and your vehicle.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Greg, what a fantastic episode, man. I had a lot of fun with this one.
I don't think we've ever done one of these where my feelings have been changed so much. And I don't want to say opinion change because I didn't have a negative opinion going in, I don't think. But I wasn't like, ooh, wow. Oh, now I'm like, yes.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Holy cow. Just like you, I didn't really know what to expect, but I'll tell you what, I didn't expect that. What a killer car.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel kind of like that internet meme. Was it the Jake Paul thing where they were fighting? He's like, he walks into the ring and he's like, I'm a real fighter, and then at the end he's like, I never claimed to be a fighter. So I kind of feel like that, right? Because before I was like, it's so expensive, and now I'm like, oh my god, it's great. But it really won me over. Like,
listen, when I think about this car from now on, I won't think about the price tag. I will think about how much heritage the car has, how much performance you get for that money, just the level of craftsmanship that goes into it. And I really like it. I think they're cutting edge, which is cool.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, just choosing a silver car with all that carbon fiber, that's literally grabbing into my soul, and that's right what it's, you know what I mean? That's like,
yeah. You know what? I think Rob has us figured out, and he steers us in a direction where he's like, you know what? If I get this car silver and add lots of carbon, Greg is going to like it.
Yeah. Really. He's like, I'm not going to fight you on the silver. I think the silver looks pretty good.
Yeah. He's playing mind games over here, dude, trying to win.
But yeah, I mean, I honestly think that's going to end up being my favorite car in this whole series, even if we do a Ford GT, which stinks because that's, I'm a Blue Oval guy.
Yeah. So far, this one by far trumps the other two. I mean, they're not even in the same conversation as far as like looks or anything really. Like we were just talking about a moment ago, if I have the money to buy any of these cars, The other two, I wouldn't even glance at. I do like the C8. Corvettes are awesome, but come on, if I have enough money to buy the McLaren, I'm going to buy the McLaren.
Yeah. I mean, the C8 becomes a reality if I have exactly $400,000 in my car budget, right?
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't be spending $400,000 if that's like the maximum.
Yeah.
So it's like, how about a C8 and 20 grand worth of mods, and then leaving 300 grand in the bank for me to invest, so
well, the question is, if you're just looking at performance for dollars, then yeah, I mean, slap a twin turbo kit on a C8 and there you go.
Yeah.
But that's not what it's about. I mean, just looking at that interior, can you imagine sitting in that cockpit, dude? Whew.
Well, like I said, I mean, all that Alcantara, I mean, seriously, I'm going to get pulled over riding around naked. Like, dude, I'm just going to look at the cop and be like, you want to deal with this right now?
Yeah, carry on, sir.
Exactly. Watch him just do a quick, 180. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
We're done here. You weren't going that fast that I'm dealing with that today.
Yeah, dude. No, I was sincerely very impressed, and I did not expect to be. So I scored it favorably. I thought it was cool, man, and I cannot wait for next week. And the portions of these episodes that I'm really enjoying are the historical stuff, like with when Rob breaks down a little bit of the history of the cars.
He knows so much of it. It's like, I mean, that's his specialty, right?
Yeah, man.
And I know he alluded a little bit towards the NSX stuff, and like, I know a little bit about the NSX, but I can't wait to hear everything about the NSX. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I've said it once, and I'll say it 1,000 times. Doing this show, I'm an expert on a couple things. I think I can say that at this point, but I'm not on a lot of things. And so anytime I can interview somebody or talk to somebody who knows a lot about something, I feel privileged because I get to just be the talking head that asks the questions. So, to have someone at my disposal, like Rob, to where I can just pick up the phone and call him sometimes and ask him, pick his brain about different brands or racing or whatever. It's fun. It's a privilege.
For sure.
But, so anyways, as we kind of wrap up here today, Greg, I just want to give the people at home the opportunity to chime in, let us know how they felt about today's episode, what they think of the McLaren 720S. Did we pick the right color? Did we make all the right, option choices? What did you think of the value, etc.? Let us know in the comment section, please. Also, let us know what you want to see on the coming episodes. What do you expect? What do you want to hear about Acura and the NSX? Also, I'd like to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors. Of course, that's Performance Distributors, ProCharger, ARP, Liqui Moly, Silver Sport Transmissions, Holley Performance Brands, Optima, Performance Online, and of course, our title sponsor, Lucas Oil. Greg, as we draw to a close, of course, I'd like to give you an opportunity to plug anything that you have on Engine Labs. What's going on over there?
Oh, man, we got a lot of good stuff. We have... Why am I drawing a blank? It's been a long day. That's why I'm drawing a blank. It's all good. Very, man. Very long day.
This is
we're coming up on 14 hours right now. But we will have a pretty cool one going up on Thursday, which is a look at every sensor in your car. I know that sounds simple, but you think about it, and plus, I'm guarantee you there's probably at least one sensor on there you did not know exist, because I was a little bit surprised to see it on there.
Bro, come on. With modern engines, you got MAP, all kinds of sensors, and most people, they don't know what any of those are. So that's a fantastic idea for an article.
Yeah, so that's just it's a quick breakdown. There's a guy on YouTube who does a lot of those things, and I broke it down from there. And if you want all the details, we have the video linked. Because he goes into, like, I'm gonna say almost boring level, like, and for me to say that, that's a lot. But yeah, so we have that. We have the tool of the month that just posted, which is Mitutoyo profilometer from Total Seal.
What'd you call me?
Basically, it checks the surface finish of your cylinders. And they sell it, and so we kind of dive into that, and it's one of those things that I would love to have one, but it's a little bit, I mean, basically, if you have a honing machine, you need one. I don't
Okay.
have a honing machine.
Gotcha.
Unless somebody wants to donate one, I would love to have a
You don't
honing
have
machine.
it doesn't count with like a dingle ball?
No. Like a legit honing machine, right?
Okay, all right.
And you got to read the article, and I explain why it's an important tool.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Very
so we
cool.
have that. So yeah, I mean, there's some good stuff going up this week.
Awesome, man. Sounds good. For all you would-be engine builders out there, go check out enginelabs.com. As far as street muscle, we have a really cool article where we take our project C10, that's El Diablo, a little square body step side, down to Alden American. Really cool video recap article, vlog style, where we drove it down there and installed some coilovers, kind of brought the handling and suspension into the 21st century, as it were. Also, I think, we might have the first article in our LS engine build series for that same C10 up. Don't burn me at the stake if it's not up by then, okay? But it's coming.
I can't wait, because I know what's been going on in the background, and I know how much work you've been putting into that. I can't wait to see that.
It's going to be, you know what, dude? The video was a lot of fun to make. It was really cool. So I hope you guys enjoy it. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys tuning in, watching the shows every week. Without you guys, none of this would be possible. Without our sponsors, none of this would be possible. And we're going to keep making them because we know you guys like them. So until next week, we'll see you guys noon Pacific time every Friday.